In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear good people, it is Monday, the 60th day of July in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2020. It is my hope that your weekend was okay and that you are ready for this new week, this new day, this new week as we continue and to enter deeper into the month of July. Sometimes last week, I think on Monday, yes, Monday last week, we did a video that was actually part of what we had done sometimes early last year. And that is, before you say, I do. And we went through the 10 questions that every young man or every young woman needs to ask before they commit into a lasting relationship. And we went through each one of them, and then we did say that we prepare for part 2. This is an area that we are going to do even part 3, 4, up to part 20. So keep checking. You'll be finding this series coming. So today I want to do part 2 of Before You Say I Do. And today I want to journey with you the 7 areas that must be discussed. We did the 10 questions. Have I understood the family background? What about the birth placement? What about capacity to handle finances? What about capacity to handle difficult issues? What about all those things? And I'm sure we went through them step by step. Once you have asked those 10 questions, there are some other 7 areas. These ones you have to discuss. And actually, like all of them, may need a third party because they are more or less quite contentious. And if they are not discussed, I can assure you today, before God and His Holy Church, they will be the reason why your relationship or your marriage will have some cracks. And the first area to be discussed is sex. Now, this is where 2 young fellows intended to get married will take time and demystify all the sex myths. Unfortunately, this is an area that no couple, I would almost say that 99.99% of the couples don't discuss. Today, if you do some samples, you can pick like 10 couples in every set, maybe for 5 years, for 10 years, 15, 20, like that. And then you ask them, prior to your marriage, when you are doing preparation, 1, did you do premarital classes? And premarital classes should not be less than 6 months, at least. But we get married in a hurry because we are busy people. You'll be surprised that maybe less than 20% did premarital classes. Higher. The same sampling, ask them, how many of you discussed sex as a topic exhaustively, including visiting a sex therapist? Here, especially if you are dealing with a Christian couple, you can be sure before God that none of them did. You know why? Because Christians are the most hypocritical fellows when it comes to sex. We don't discuss it. But I don't blame ourselves. I blame the way we were socialized. We were brought up believing that sex ni tabia baya. So we can't talk about tabia baya. Sex ni mambo ya shetani. So we don't talk about it. So you'd want to bring it up in a relationship, but because maybe your partner is so religious, you don't want to bring in mambo ya shetani. So you enter into a relationship with your eyes closed in terms of sexual issues. And today, you ask every couple, one of the areas that they really struggle, it is this area because they never actually got time to discuss. And maybe, again, another assumption that we always make is that, these ones, people know you don't have to teach them. But you see, we are not teaching you the physical coitus. No. The issues that are surrounding the sex as it is. Because sex is not just that act. It is something that is so broad that you discuss so many issues because it's an area that actually touches the core of you. For men, it is part of their ego. When a man is attacked from a sexual angle, that man's ego is actually crushed. And there are so many areas that we can discuss there. Maybe moving forward, we can do a reflection on this alone, and then I'll be able to break it into pieces. When we are telling our young people before they get married to discuss sex as a topic, what do we mean? That comes maybe in our part 3 or whatever. But this is an area that you cannot hide. It is good to ask, and I have used the word to demystify. There are so many myths about sex. Understand the myth that you maybe have had as you are growing up. Demystify them. Where you find yourselves stuck, please look for a professional therapist to help you. Area number 2 to be discussed is the area of finances. By the way, I'm giving you these 7 areas in order of their importance. Finances here, remember it was part of the questions that we asked. But here we asked, what is my capacity to handle finances? Now here, we talk about real issues. We talk about bills. Who pays what? How much is my husband earning? How much is my wife earning? From there, you discuss issues of investment. But before you go there, please understand each other's financial language. Every human person discusses or understands a certain financial language. And if I have not understood my partner's financial language, then I am lost. I may be thinking that my wife is so stingy. All her money is kept in a bank because her financial language is saving. And you may be, as a boyfriend or a husband, your financial language is charity, giving people money. Not that you are reckless, but that is your language. But because you never took time to understand each other's financial language, you start fighting in areas where you ought not to have fought. Area number 3. And before we go to area number 3, again, this is also another very, very broad topic. Again, also it may constitute our part number 4, God willing. So that I'll be able to now to take you through the 2 sets of financial languages, the love financial language and the other language that we need to understand when you are entering into a relationship. This is what I say. If as a mother you never got yourself prepared for marriage, please don't allow your daughter to enter into her marriage with her eyes closed the way you did. If as a dad, you never got yourself ready for marriage, please don't allow your son or your daughter to repeat the mistakes that you made. It would be very unfair, very, very unfair to allow your children to repeat the mistakes that you made simply because you cannot take them through these areas. Number 3 is religion. We did say last week that religion is a silent killer of marriage. How so? Religion forms our worldview. and especially to women, because women are more religiously wired than men are. Now, when I talk about the three cracks, pre-existing cracks before marriage that can be present in a relationship, religion is part of the pre-existing crack. I always say that if you enter into marriage with the three pre-existing cracks, the first one is when you are entering into an intercultural marriage, one tribe marrying another tribe. That is a pre-existing crack. Number two, it is when you don't share faith. One is a PCA, the other is a Lutheran or Jehovah's Witness. That is a pre-existing crack. And when you are marrying from another nationality. Now, you can imagine that maybe you are a PCA follower and then you are marrying a Jehovah's Witness. One thing I keep saying is that if you do not agree on where you will worship after you say I do, my dear, you are setting yourself for great failure. Because this is an area that you need a lot of maturity to appreciate my husband's religion and faith and my wife's. It is not proper to live in the same family, but again, you worship in different churches. Because as you move forward, religion will shape the way you look at things. So FatherCK is a Catholic priest. And then my wife is a PCA follower or a Jehovah's Witness, or if you like. So when I come home, I'll be saying, Father alisema, this is what Father said. My wife says, this is what the pastor said. And you realize that even in terms of doctrines, our churches are not the same. There are those churches that are almost like a cult, where worshippers are actually almost brainwashed, to the extent that they are taught that whoever does not belong to our religion, this fellow is an imp, a small devil. These are the areas where now you start now finding your spouse is seeing you as if you are the devil incarnate. Not that there is anything bad that you have done. The issue is that this is what they have been taught in church. Maybe another one comes from another church that the theology is different. This is where you sit and agree. What is it that we need in our marriage? And I said, if you entered into your marriage with two faiths, this is a pre-existing crack. And I can tell you for a fact, as you advance in age, if it is not well discussed, the crack becomes a big gap, to the extent that at some point when you are getting to your 60s, it is not just a crack, it's like a valley, as it were. Why? Because as women advance in age, they become more deep into religion. As men advance in age, they become more religiously indifferent. And this is the time, remember, when you are going towards your 60s, this is the time that the nest is becoming empty, if it is not empty already. You can imagine if you got your children when you were young, very young. Maybe your wife, maybe you have two children, and maybe you got your first child at the age of 23, meaning that by 30, you had all your kids. You know what that means? That when you are getting to 50, chances are you don't have anybody in the house. Wachaeda. So, as you advance in age and as you go towards your 60s, 70s, this is the time that you really need each other, to literally even holding each other to go for worship. This is the time that the wife is perpetually in crusades and the husband is in other places. You realize that your marriage becomes colder and colder as you advance in age, and supposed to become even warmer, because this is the time that even your areas of wandering around is narrowing. First, because of age. And of course, now the way you look at things is different. So we hope that you have matured. So it is important that you agree, if it is possible that you agree that then this is our church, it is okay. And I always there's somebody asked the other question, I think it was on Facebook, and I remember I gave my very honest answer. And I think the gentleman had asked that she does not belong to my faith. Can I leave her? In fact, I put it this way. As a girlfriend and a boyfriend, if you cannot disagree at all about religion, if you can't agree at all, leave each other. Please. Don't enter into a marriage that becomes punitive as years progress. From there, we talk about friends and in-laws. This is an area that sometimes we ignore. And before you enter into marriage, always remember that before you came into the life of this man, if he had sisters and brothers and parents, remember they have been used to seeing him alone. Now, if this man again was actually the breadwinner, or he was educating some of his siblings if he is the firstborn, or maybe the one who is a bit financially endowed, when you enter into his life, chances are his beneficiaries will be seeing you as a competitor and as an enemy. So chances are, if you are marrying a man called Joshua, and he is the firstborn, and he is educating 3 of his siblings, the siblings might see you as one who has come to eat from their pocket. So chances of them treating you in a very cold way is also very high. If the parents were benefiting from their son, again the same. This happens more with the sons than it does with the daughters. For reasons maybe you can discuss when we go to heaven. But for now, we can be comfortable with that. What about the friends? Now, here, I would like to talk to our gracious ladies and young girls. Men are more attached to their friends more than they are attached to their God. A man will do anything to protect his friend. In fact, it is written and it is known that a man will protect a friend more than he can protect the wife or a girlfriend. Men are more attached to friendships. So if you are marrying a man who is so much into boys club, I'm putting it in parentheses because it may mean something different in other areas. So need to ask, who shapes the opinions of my partner? Is my girlfriend so much into a girls' club such that her friends actually hold the key to her every decision? And you ask, do I know all the friends of my boyfriend? Am I comfortable with them? Have I communicated this to this effect? Do I know all the friends of my girlfriend? Am I comfortable with all of them? Have I communicated to that effect? Because if as a boyfriend, you are competing with her friends, when she gets married, friends are not going anywhere. So chances are they might come and mess your life. In-laws. And especially when you are marrying from a different culture. Please. And this I have always said, and I want to say it for a millionth time. If you are marrying from another culture, at least for purposes of your own peace of mind, do not enter into that marriage. Do not, in caps, underlined, bolded. Do not enter until at least you have known some of their language. Kidogo tu. In fact, I would put it because language proficiency is gauged up to 5. Go up to maybe 1.5. At least know a few things. You can greet them in their language. You can ask a question and you can understand something kidogo. 1.5 is okay. I would recommend 2. 2 out of 5, you are good. If you are in a marriage and you have never understood the mother tongue of your spouse, actually you should be jailed. Should be picked, taken to jail, and you stay there for 3 years. And the day you be released, I'll come and recommend you go in again. You know why? Because this is where the first disconnect happens. So you can imagine you have been taken home. Let's say, for example, you are a beautiful girl from Machakos, a place called Kemakemwe. And you have married a man called Wepukulu from Busia. So Wepukulu is going to introduce you to his Busia lad. I don't know whether a village called Sirisia. I don't know whether Sirisia is in Busia or whatever. But there's a place called Sirisia where my small sister is married. So you're being taken there to be introduced. And you don't know their language at all. The only language you know ni kikaba igine funny. Because hata kikaba yako haujui. And you have been taken to Ruyarad. And you go there, the elders are there waiting for you. This beautiful girl walking as if you came last night from heaven. And you don't even understand even greeting the old people. And you know, by the way, that is the first area. They start now putting some X. If you cannot greet old people in their language, by the way, this, they take it personally. They do. And now, if they will now start discussing you, you can't even know. Maybe they are saying funny things about you, and you're just there smiling cheapishly. You know, it is so sad. So sad. So it is important that understand this. It is important because in-laws, especially from a cross-cultural marriage, are more, they have more key, because remember here you do not share common heritage. You don't. So, and again, there are some cultures that boys are more close to their mothers than girls. So if you are marrying from a culture where boys are more on the side of their mothers, please know that your marriage, you have 3 authorities. There is your mother-in-law number 1, there is your husband number 2, and actually, his sisters are number 3. You come in number 4. These are number 4. So you're in a marriage where the mother-in-law is the one who has the say, the final say. The second authority is your husband. The third authority is his siblings. You are number 4. Now, that is not a marriage. We can't call it a marriage. We can call it a punitive relationship. Because it's like emotionally, you'll never be at par with anybody because they can't connect with you. You don't even know their language. So understand these 2 areas, friends and in-laws. Number 5 is education. Now, if at the time of your coming together, the man is having his first degree, and maybe you finish your Form 4 and struggling to join college, and at the same time, maybe your husband, when you met, your boyfriend is actually doing his master's, and then you agree, no, don't mind, just marry me. When you become my wife, I'll pay your school fees. Now you need to agree there, because that must be the first area that you will fight. Why? Because men tend to forget. And here, men deliberately forget. Because there are some men who are not very good enough, who will use your lack of academic exposure to treat you like a fool, an imbecile. Every time ukiogea, anakuwa na wewe kama ni mtoto. After all, imaliza Form 4, hata hauna hata diploma ya kufagia hauna. So agree from day one. If you want to go to college, and maybe your dad is paying for you, please, my dear, first go and do your degree or your diploma. Marriage is not going anywhere. Because maybe the same area that you could have done that, it is the area that your husband is using to dehumanize you, calling you a fool, because you have no university degree. Not that your parents could not have paid for you, but because of your kichwa gumu, you opted to get married to a man who has already has his own degree, and your parents wanted to pay for you and you refused. Ukakibiria doa. Now you are a mother of two, and you're telling us that, my husband is demeaning me because I have no education. We told you to go to college. Ukatuletea ukora. Now, ujeuri yako ndio inakukula. And if that is how you entered into your marriage as a mother or as a dad, please don't allow your kids to do that. If right now you are dating, understand each other, and you need to agree. If you have, there's something we call academic or education aberration. If you need to understand and agree on these aberrations, and then you see, I promised myself that I'll go up to my PhD, such that these do not become breaking news when you are in marriage. So that now we don't want to hear that you got married, immediately you said I do. After a month, you're telling your husband, no, I'm going for my PhD. I have always told myself that I want a PhD, but you never brought this topic when you were dating. You must be a criminal. Why would you withhold some information only to use them like a punishment to your spouse? And remember, these aberrations need finances. And when you were dating, you had talked about finances. But none of you said, I want my PhD. I want my master's. I want to go and do my bachelor's. It was never discussed. So you enter into marriage, from nowhere, you have gone and registered your PhD or your master's. So your spouse is finding papers when they are organizing their room and comes across some papers. Allah, what are those? And then when they are checking, so my husband is doing a PhD and I've never known. So my wife has enrolled for her MBA. And then when you are asked, you start saying, no, I have always promised myself I would go up to PhD. But my dear, you did not bring it on when you were dating. You must be very unfair. That's being very unfair. Now, number 6, expected cultural practices. Expected cultural practices. I think I shared with you, if I didn't, maybe there's no harm if I share this with you now. A young girl whom I have known since she was a tiny fellow got married after her university, and got married from Western, I think from Abukusu. I think it's Abukusu. Sub-tribe, I can't remember very well. Maybe if I say it, maybe you can write for me down there which tribe that does that, or which sub-tribe that does that. So this boy comes from Western, the girl comes from Central. And now they have gotten married and they have settled in Central, because that's where the boy is working and the girl is working there. And God blesses them with a child. And when the child is a month or two, I can't remember how old the fellow was, the mother-in-law from Western calls and tells the son, we are coming on this day with so-and-so, I think the aunties, to come and shave the child. Now the girl tells her mother that, mami, my mother-in-law wanakuja na auntie kunyoa mtoto. Immediately, the mother calls me. Father, I have a problem, please, I want you to help me, and she was just very unhappy with the whole thing, because for her that was ugaga. And when she told me that, my this and that, I told her that is okay. That culture, they shave their children as a sign of acceptance. Huyu ni mtoto wetu, ni damu yetu. So what I did, I got her an elderly lady from the same culture to take her through those practices. And I can tell you now they are a happy couple. They have 2 kids, and I thank God for them. God is still blessing them. I hope that they get up to 10 children. Mungu ndiye hupeana watoto. But you see, I blame this boy. This boy had not told the girl is a Kikuyu, and a boy is a Luya from that sub-tribe. I am forgetting, but somebody can tell me. This boy should have told the girl that from my sub-tribe, tunanyoa watoto. We do this cultural practice. Another one tells me that, Father, my mother is calling us to go and take children for blessings. And the way you understand blessings, it could be different from the way they do their blessings in their culture. Maybe their culture, the blessings look like witchcraft. For you, you understand blessings from a religious perspective. And blessings from religious perspective is so different from blessings in a cultural perspective. There are some tribes that bless using alcohol, traditional alcohol. There are those others that do some adabracadabra. Zinaka ugaga ugaga tu. But that is their culture, my dear. It needed to have been discussed. This practice happens in our culture. Finally, domicile after the wedding. Domicile. For example, the girl works in the city center, Nairobi City, and the man is working maybe in the same city. But the man comes from, for example, Taita. That's where his home is. And the girl maybe comes, for example, from Nanyuki, or maybe Taita, or wherever. But the girl are those girls who have always vowed that for her she would want a town environment. But for you, in your male chauvinist mind, you cannot live with a woman who is working. So your idea is to marry her village, teke. Akakae uko na wazazi. But you never tell her when you are dating that for me, I like a wife who is in the village. In the village there with my shosho, my grandmother, my mother, stay there. So, you are scheming this, maybe with your mother. The girl does not know. The day of the wedding comes, if you're doing it formally, or maybe she just walks in and becomes a wife. And then when she is a mother of one, you plan to go for Christmas at home. It is not Christmas. You are executing your evil plan. It is evil because it is only known to you. And maybe in your discussion, you have always heard the girl talk about being in town. Maybe that's why she was brought up. And you tell her, because we'll be at home I want us to be there for 2-3 weeks. So you need to carry a lot of clothes. But you see, in your mind, there's something that we are planning. When you get to the village, uko Taita, where you come from, and you are there the first week, the second week, before you are even done with the holiday, you say that you're being called at work. And you go to work, and she is there. January comes, thank God your kid is tiny, he's not going to school, so hakuna kwenda shule. So she's asking, when are we coming back? And then you tell her, and I'll come for you. And then from there now, the narrative changes. The narrative changes. Now, and the mother now starts now driving the narrative. I stay here. My son would want somebody who can develop the family, to a bomber, all those other things. What the mother is saying is very good. Your intention is also good, but nothing was communicated. Why are you punishing this girl? Why? Because this happens more to women than does happen to men. And it is so sad that our girls have been subjected to this kind of punishment. You never told her that I am marrying a woman who stays in the village. Some men have even gone an extra mile. That you take your girl and you take her home to the village and she is in your mother's house. In your mother's house. When you come home, you sleep in that mother's house. Where wazazi, you are under the same roof. The parents are in room number A. You are in room number C. There with your wife. That is not right. And this is not what the lady would have wanted. You always said, let us have our own place where we can have our freedom. But for you, you want where your mother is. Everybody is inside there. That is not right. If that is your intention, feel free and bold enough to communicate it so that she can make a decision. Then she can say, I cannot marry a man who is living with his mother. I can't. Because I want to respect your mother. Lakini tukikaa na yeye tutakanyagana sana. So I don't want me and your mother to fight. So, if we cannot have a place of our own, please, let me be. That is important. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about honesty and openness. Please, before you say I do, it is always important that some of these areas are discussed. And where you do not agree completely, because you don't have to agree 100%, you can enter into that marriage knowing that here we didn't agree. I always talk about a key like this, what I call the marriage key, marriage keyboard. Marriage keyboard has these types of buttons or keys, and they have 3 types of light. There we have got the green part, we've got the amber, and we have got red. The green are the areas where you have agreed. Mumeogea, mumeagree. These are the areas, especially in terms of values that to pursue in your marriage. We have got the amber. Amber, these are the areas that are still dicey. Not, you have not agreed. But you are saying, okay, this one we can work around. We've got the red area. The red area is an area that you have not agreed and you are not willing to discuss it. And most of the red zone carries generational baggages, especially those that we are shy to confront, or those that we have settled at home that this is who I am, take it or leave it. Now, if you do not understand your marriage keyboard, you will fight till thy kingdom come. Part 1 and part number 2 addresses this keyboard. Part number 3 will be able now to go looking at the various facets of the keyboard and how to overcome them. Now I want to stop there. See you in part number 3. If you think that you need to be helped, I am so ready to help you. This is what I do every day. If you are dating, please don't enter into marriage before you have gone through proper premarital classes. We are even doing them online. And I think now the other part I'll be able to give you the areas that you need to go, to be taught when you are going through your premarital classes. But if you want to get my help, my number is there. Reach out. I know distance is not a question. Now, Corona has taught us that we can do almost everything online, apart from confession. May the Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Do have a productive Monday. Now, once you get the information, please share it. If you are a mother, share it with your sons and daughters. When you get it, share it until everybody understands what we are saying. Keep sharing until you find it in heaven. If you want to know that you have shared something, it is when it has come back to you. If you share and it has not come back to you, you have not shared enough. Keep sharing. Let people know this. And when you share this, tell them that, there is a part 1. Of course, go to the YouTube channel. You get Father Charles Kenyua. Keep subscribing. But my point is not you subscribe. My point is, please get the message. And when you get the message, be my disciple. Sabaza information. Part 3 loading.